for more than 80 years, its design a familiar sight in pockets, purses, and cash registers across the United States. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, crafted by Victor David Brenner in 1909, had become an enduring symbol of American coinage. By the late 20th century, the U.S. mint processes were highly automated and efficient, producing billions of pennies each year with remarkable consistency. Yet, in the midst of such precision and mass production, a tiny and almost unnoticeable mistake occurred, one that would turn a common 1990 penny into one of the most sought-after modern rarities in U.S. numismatic history. To understand the origins of this rarity, it helps to look at the mint's operations during that era. The year 1990 marked a transitional point in coin production, particularly in the replacement of aging dies and the introduction of new hubbing techniques. Each working die was created with great care, bearing every design detail that would be impressed onto planchets during striking. In one extremely rare case, a working die was prepared without the small yet critical S mint mark for proof coins intended for collectors. These were supposed to be struck at the San Francisco Mint and sold only in proof sets. But somehow, a tiny number of proof cents without the S mint mark escaped the mint and entered the hands of unsuspecting collectors. The story of their discovery began quietly. A collector in the early 1990s, reviewing a fresh proof set purchased directly from the U.S. Mint, noticed something peculiar. The penny inside, instead of bearing the sharp S mint mark beneath the date, was completely bare. At first, he thought it was a flaw in the strike or a case of damage, but under magnification, there was no sign that the mint mark had ever been there at all. The coin's surfaces were flawless mirror fields typical of proof strikes, meaning this was no circulation strike. It was a genuine proof cent missing its mint mark entirely. This small oversight set the coin apart instantly. When the collector brought the piece to the attention of a well-known numismatic expert, the reaction was one of stunned excitement. The expert confirmed that no official records existed of such coins being released. The assumption was that during die preparation, one die never received the mint mark punch, yet still went on to strike a small batch of coins before the error was caught. How many were made was unknown, but evidence suggested the number was incredibly low, likely just a handful. For years, these coins traded hands quietly among serious collectors, each transaction adding to their mystique. Unlike more obvious minting errors, such as off-center strikes or double dies, the missing mint mark error required a keen eye and a deep knowledge of how proof coins were supposed to appear. Many ordinary collectors would never think to check for such a detail, meaning these coins could easily go unnoticed in proof sets still sitting in their original government packaging. The significance of this error goes beyond rarity. It also represents a failure in one of the most controlled parts of U.S. coin production. Proof coins are not struck in the chaotic environment of general circulation coinage. They are made with polished dies, struck multiple times for sharpness, and handled with gloves to ensure a pristine finish. The idea that such a coin could be released without a mint mark, an essential identifying feature, defies the mint's quality standards and adds to the intrigue. By the early 2000s, word of the missing mint mark 1990 penny had spread widely enough that it became a fixture in numismatic auction catalogs. Collectors competed fiercely for the few confirmed examples, knowing that opportunities to own one might come only once in a decade. Their market value began climbing steadily, driven not just by scarcity but also by the desire among advanced collectors to fill an almost impossible gap in a complete Lincoln cent collection. Today, the 1990 No-S proof Lincoln cent is recognized as one of the great modern rarities, a coin whose existence is both a mystery and a marvel. It stands as proof that even in the most controlled settings, perfection is never guaranteed, and when it fails, history can be made. For those fortunate enough to own one, it is far more than a penny. It is a once-in-a-lifetime find. Its current value ranges between $44,000 and $120,000, depending on condition, provenance, and the fierce competition among collectors who dream of calling it their own. In 1998, the familiar Lincoln cent was still a staple of everyday commerce in the United States. By then, it had been nearly 9 decades since Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln first appeared on the obverse in 1909, and the coin's reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design by Frank Gasparo introduced in 1959. To the average person, the 1998 penny was just another copper-plated zinc coin, worth only its face value. But for keen-eyed collectors, that year quietly produced one of the most unusual and coveted modern rarities in U.S. coinage. a coin so rare that many have never seen it in person. The U.S. Mint in the late 1990s was operating with highly automated systems, producing billions of cents annually at facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The vast majority of 1998 pennies were struck without issue, their designs crisp and consistent. However, in a very limited number of cases, something extraordinary happened. This was not a simple case of a minor striking flaw or damage from circulation. This was a true minting anomaly involving the use of the wrong reverse design, creating a variety known to collectors as the 1998 wide AM penny. The Lincoln Memorial design typically showed the letters AM in America positioned close together for circulating business strikes of that time. But a very small batch of 1998 cents left the mint with a reverse design intended for proof coins, where the AM is spaced noticeably farther apart. How such a mix-up occurred remains a subject of debate among numismatists. The prevailing theory is that a reverse die meant for proof production at the San Francisco Mint somehow found its way into a press used for circulating coins at the Philadelphia Mint. This type of error could only happen during a die changeover, when a proof die was mistakenly sent to the wrong location or not properly labeled. The result was a coin that to the casual observer looked just like any other 1998 penny, but to the trained eye was a distinct variety, one that would later become a prize for error and variety collectors alike. The discovery came not from the mint itself but from collectors who carefully examined their change, searching for anomalies. Early finds caused a stir in the coin collecting community, as the wider spacing in the AM was a known diagnostic for certain special issues, yet here it was appearing on a regular business strike. Once the news broke, collectors began scouring rolls of 1998 pennies from banks, coin dealers, and their own jars of loose change, hoping to find the elusive wide AM. As with most rare varieties, the majority of coins inspected were ordinary. The few genuine examples that surfaced were quickly snapped up, graded by professional services, and began appearing in auction listings with enthusiastic bidding. This variety's appeal comes from the fact that it is a clear and visible difference from the standard design, but subtle enough that most people miss it. It's not an accidental misalignment or a damaged planchet. It's a result of the mint unintentionally blending production intended for completely different purposes. This makes it both a mint error and a transitional variety, a combination that often commands significant collector interest in high-grade uncirculated condition. The 1998 wide AM penny is breathtaking, its copper plating glowing with luster and every design detail crisp from the original proof die's sharp engraving. Even in lightly circulated grades, the rarity and intrigue of the piece make it far more valuable than its humble face value. It represents a moment when the usually precise machinery and strict procedures of the mint let a rare treasure slip through. Over the years, its notoriety has only grown. Stories circulate of lucky individuals finding one in a handful of pocket change, turning an ordinary trip to the store into a discovery worth thousands. For seasoned collectors, it remains a bucket list coin, a tangible reminder that even in the modern era, with its industrial precision, the human element and human error, still leaves room for remarkable surprises. Today, the 1998 wide AM penny stands among the most desirable modern Lincoln cent varieties. Its charm lies in its mystery, its beauty, and the thrill of knowing such a rarity can still be hiding in plain sight. Depending on condition and collector demand, its value ranges between $40,000 and $110,000, making it one of the most astonishingly valuable pennies of its time. In 2004, the Lincoln cent had already been a part of American life for nearly a century, and the familiar obverse design by Victor David Brenner still featured the dignified bust of President Abraham Lincoln. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo's depiction of the Lincoln Memorial continued its long-running appearance, a design first introduced in 1959. By the early 2000s, the mint was producing billions of these copper-plated zinc coins each year, and they flowed endlessly through the nation's economy. For most Americans, the 2004 penny was nothing more than small change, something tossed in a jar or left in a store's take-a-penny dish. But for collectors, a small handful of these coins would emerge as an exceptional rarity, turning a single cent into a numismatic prize worth tens of thousands of dollars. The production process for U.S. coins in 2004 was a marvel of efficiency. At the Philadelphia and Denver mints, high-speed presses struck cents at incredible rates, with dies carefully prepared to ensure consistent quality. Yet, even in such a highly controlled environment, errors can, and sometimes do, occur. What makes certain errors valuable is not just their uniqueness but the circumstances that led to them, and in the case of the very rare 2004 penny, it's a story rooted in the mix-up of dies and design variations. While most 2004 pennies were struck with no issues, a small number are believed to have been produced with proof die characteristics intended for special mint sets or proof coins. These proof dies were polished to a mirror finish and featured extremely sharp details. When mistakenly used on coins meant for general circulation, the result was a strikingly different look. Highly detailed, deeply defined elements that stood out compared to the normal business strikes. Some examples also display unusually crisp separation between the design elements, especially in areas like Lincoln's coat lines, the memorial's pillars, and the lettering on both sides. In certain cases, the spacing in the AM of America differs subtly from standard business strikes, indicating the possibility of a proof reverse die being used in error. Such traits are the hallmark of a mint variety, a type of rarity highly sought after by serious collectors. The discovery of these rare 2004 cents came quietly at first. A few sharp-eyed collectors noticed coins in circulation that looked different from the rest. Upon closer inspection, these pennies exhibited traits associated with coins that should never have entered the public's pocket change. Once word spread through numismatic forums and coin publications, the search was on. Collectors began examining bankrolls, pocket change, and dealer stock, hoping to spot one of these anomalies. As with most such hunts, the odds were slim. For every rare variety, millions of ordinary coins circulated alongside it. Still, the possibility of turning up a 2004 penny with the rare die characteristics kept interest alive. The rarity factor was compounded by the fact that these coins were still relatively modern, making them a testament to the fact that even in the 21st century, valuable mint varieties can slip through undetected. When found in pristine condition, often described by grading services as mint state 67 or higher, the coin's sharp details, brilliant luster, and flawless surfaces make it a standout piece in any Lincoln cent collection. Even circulated examples, while not as visually dazzling, retain substantial value due to their extreme scarcity. This rare 2004 penny reminds collectors that valuable finds aren't just buried in history books or hidden in antique hoards. They can still appear in modern change. It serves as both a numismatic curiosity and an exciting possibility for anyone willing to pay close attention to the coins in their hand. Today, the very rare 2004 US 1 cent penny stands as a remarkable example of how a small minting deviation can create a modern treasure. Depending on its condition and the fervor of collectors seeking it, its value ranges between $33,000 and $95,000. An incredible sum for a coin that started life as just a single cent.